Today, the crisis at the border continues, and Joe Biden makes a really odd deflection when asked a very simple question. I'm sure you guys are very, very shocked to hear that. We've got all that and more coming up, and it starts right now. Hey, happy Friday. I am Sarah Gonzalez. Welcome to the news and why it matters. It should be a pretty fun one today. I've got at the table Jaco Booyens, host of the Jaco Booyens show, who is like dadded out right now.
Yes.
Dadded out right now. Happy birthday to your son, by the way.
Yeah.
And also we've got here at the table my best friend, apparently,
Yes.
John Doyle, political commentator John
You're
Doyle.
saying that like it's not true, but it is true.
John Doyle, who's quite a character.
She's in a feel-good mood. She's trying to make you feel good.
Well, it's because she's, yeah.
Anyway, John Doyle is here, Jaco Booyens is here. Should be a good show. Let's get into the headlines of the day. I'm sure it will come as no surprise to you two gentlemen, since we actually live in Texas. We know a little bit about what is going on at the border with illegal immigration. And now we have buses leaving this Texas city at the heart of the border crisis. They're struggling to keep up with business. We've got, look, if you guys are watching this program, not listening on audio podcast, there is a bus that, they're flooding these buses. They cannot keep up with it. This is happening in McAllen, which, by the way, is not El Paso, which is where Kamala finally bothered to show up at the airport in El Paso and said, oh, I visited the crisis. That's actually not where the heart of the crisis is. But throughout the last couple days, we've seen literal gates opened and people just walking in. We've seen literal gates opened and them letting some people come in, other people being shut out. We've seen a couple scary situations where you have people who are actually pushing on the gates, pushing on the people in front of them, waiting to be let in. But they're saying over in McAllen, we don't have enough private bus seats to get everyone out. And still, we are hearing from the White House, from the Biden administration, that this is not, in fact, a crisis. I want to get your thoughts on this, gentlemen, but I also want to bring into the conversation, because it obviously has to do with it, that 3 in 10 illegal immigrants in ICE custody are declining the COVID vaccine. So think what you will of the vaccine. I know I am in good company when I say I personally will not be taking it. I personally not only do not trust it, but also do not feel the need to take it. But the left says COVID is a big crisis. They've even alluded to possibly shutting things down again in the fall if things continue where they're going, because you have to get vaccinated is your patriotic duty, according to the left. And now we are seeing all of the people they are letting in, all of the strangers they are letting in from the border. 3 in 10 are actually declining the COVID vaccine at all. And I'm sure that that's totally fine for them.
Yeah, look, the hypocrisy is so thick, right? So we can't screen and profile and find out if the child coming across the border is being trafficked, or whether it's a pimp or a predator at the border. But we have to have vaccine protocol, number one.
Well,
okay?
also, you need a vaccine passport to
I need
walk
a
around
vaccine
in your
passport.
own country,
Well,
but they don't need one to cross the border illegally. Right.
We can't have voter ID in this country, but we're going to vaccine passports. We need vaccine passports within the country to walk around, but they can flood across the border with who knows what kind of a disease, and whoever they are. But this is not, now it's surfacing in the news, but it's been like this from the get-go.
Yes.
Buses literally just picking people up and driving to McAllen, and they just dropped them in McAllen. Now finally McAllen's saying, we can't handle this anymore. Now buses are picking them up in McAllen and taking them everywhere.
Yeah.
And I want people to watch to know, this is not just, it's a huge Texas issue, huge, but we're finding folks in
coming soon to a city near you.
Illinois, Wisconsin, Oregon. I was in Oregon for almost a month, right? Finding people in Oregon, they're busing them all over the country. And so who knows? Yes, coming to a city near you. Courtesy of Zippy Cup.
Courtesy of Sippy Cup Joe Biden himself.
It's sad because that's kind of like the defining issue of America. Like your national identity is basically predicated on your immigration policy. And if your borders are totally open, like the borders exist to say like our people are here, your people are there. And if they don't exist, then there's no like point of even having a country. But it's also almost interesting that because our national identity doesn't exist anymore, except for the things that the media tells us, such as getting the vaccine, it's interesting that they're coming across the border and it's like, we're not going to deport you, but we're going to make sure that you're vaccinated at least.
Yeah, that's a great point. It was very frustrating for me. When was this? Earlier in the week. I can't remember if you were here or not, because I know you've joined us a couple times this week, but I went to DPS. I went to the Department of Public Safety, who, by the way, they forced me to set an appointment with because everything was shut down for COVID. My license was expired. Right. And they're like, you have to set an appointment. You cannot come in. Your appointment is like 6 months out. And so you have to get a temporary, a waiver to show in case you get pulled over or you need it to show them, hey, I'm waiting for my appointment. It's just a whole big cluster. So I'm waiting for my appointment. I finally get it. I go there. I had to go back and forth from my house 3 different times because they would not accept my other forms of identification. I had my Social Security card. I had a certified copy of my birth certificate from the Bureau of Vital Statistics. Like I had all of those things, and they kept rejecting. What? Yes, and this was just to renew my driver's license. I'm like, I'm not a new driver.
What identification is appropriate? If not your social and your birth certificate.
A passport, however, they said, oh, well, your passport expired in 2020. And I'm like, I know, everything was shut down. How the hell did you expect me to renew it?
You can't get a passport without a birth certificate.
Right. So it was just this weird cycle that no one was really understanding of the fact that, I didn't have all of these things. But I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, why is this so difficult? And I'm watching, literally while I'm at the DPS office, I'm watching these illegal immigrants flooding in through a gate that they have let open. And I'm like, I'm just trying to renew my license, and I'm very clearly an American citizen. And you guys are making this way more difficult for me than you are for these illegal immigrants who, by the way, I'm sorry to say, there are going to be a certain percentage of them who come in here who commit crimes.
A large percentage.
Thank you.
A very large percentage.
There are, as Donald Trump said, rapists and murderers.
No, listen, this is not, we work trafficking. This is what we do. I work with the border every single day of my life. We work with these folks, okay? Many of these young men who are coming over are already MS-13 members before they come over. They're recruited at 12. They're trafficking at 14 and 15. They bring drugs over. I mean, it's insane that we have no idea, as in zero, intel on who is coming into the country, and that we can, in our country, let people come in without knowing who, from now over 100 countries around the world. This is not just Mexico, folks. Syria, Korea, all over are saying, hey, you just go to Mexico. I was in an Uber the other day, and a guy was talking about his family having a hard time get in. And this guy tells me, as an immigrant, he probably thought I was left-leaning, right? Until I said 2 words, and he's like, oh, crap. There's a radical in my backseat. He's like, I'm just going to tell my family to go to Mexico, and they'll come see me. It's like knowledge around the world, and he was Middle Eastern. Just go to Mexico. You can come in. But you, Sarah, who are trying to abide by the law, not get pulled over by a cop while you're driving with an expired license, you can't get your liceness renewed.
Right. They make it impossible for me to be able to just renew my license to prove that I'm a citizen. And also, we all, you can't be expected to get voter ID and all of these things if you're not who you say you are, but I am who I say I am, and I can't just renew my driver's license.
Plus, it's like the crime that they commit shouldn't even be happening in the first place. Like if an American citizen commits a crime, okay, that's kind of an inevitable consequence of not living on an island. But when these people come in here and they commit crimes, it's like you're not even supposed to be here in the first place, let alone, the crime of entering the country illegally, but then committing the violent crime. And then, they have, can I say the word anchor babies still?
Yes.
They have anchor babies, and you look at like the crime rates of those, and they're like significantly higher than the native-born population, even though, well, they're not immigrants, they're citizens because they were born on American soil. It's like, yeah, but they're the children of illegal immigrants, and they commit vastly higher violent crimes than native-born.
And when you're talking about people who are crossing the border illegally, and as you just pointed out, John, their entire, their trip here is just, that is a crime in and of itself. How can you expect them to respect American laws when the entire reason that they're here was from breaking the law?
I make that point on my show a lot because there's a lot of arguments in favor of just total open borders that appeal to what I call the patriot's ego, like this idea of they just love America so much. Right. And it's like, do you think these people who are wearing shirts that say La Raza and waving the Mexican flag, because they literally think that they're taking back the land that is theirs, that we took from them in the Mexican-American War. And it's like, do you think that they're going to be at the border and like ICE is going to be handing out copies of John Stuart Mill and Thomas Paine, and they're going to read it and they're going to be like, oh, I love the founding fathers. It's like, no, they're here because they want to exploit the country economically.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Just show me where it's worked, okay? My native country is South Africa, zero borders for 26 years. 26 years, okay? It's on fire. Go see. It's on fire, okay? They say they report 32% unemployment. It's 53% unemployment. They don't want to give you the room, 53. Even if it's 32% unemployment, and inflation that's going to hit 7% at the moment. I mean, it's insane. It hasn't worked. It will never work. Or just for a moment, don't lock your doors, leave your cars unlocked, leave everything open in your neighborhood, leave the bike in the front yard and see. See if this model works of say, come all are welcome, we can't see. It took me almost 9 years after being here to be a legal sworn-in citizen. It was one of the greatest days of my life, okay? Other than the birth of my children and my marriage, right? And the day I got saved, right? 9 years, a lot of money of doing it right. And these goons walk across with zero regard for this nation, no love for this nation, didn't denounce, all other allegiance, which I had to do, right? I pick up allegiance to defend this country, foreign and domestic, right? No, you just walk across because it's free.
And that's what's so frustrating to me about when I'm talking to, the people, Hispanic people, whether they come from Mexico or wherever. It's very frustrating because I share the same sentiment as you that while I wasn't the one who did it, my family came here and did it the right way. They went through the process the way that they were supposed to. It's hard for me to understand not viewing that as a slap in the face to all of the people who have done this the right way, who are spending the money, who are standing in line waiting. There are a lot of deserving people who are in line and I don't mean literally standing in line, but I mean who are going through the process. Who are in line waiting to get here. You're not more important because you've trekked the journey and come to the gate banging and demanding to be let in. It's
apparently, our administration works still by the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but also the squeaky wheel becomes a voter.
Right, unfortunately.
Yeah, we're like 2 election cycles away from them all being granted voting rights, and then it's over. Texas will go blue. Everything's going to go blue.
Not happening, John.
Trends would suggest otherwise. You don't think Texas is going to go blue in 10 years?
It's not happening.
What?
It's not happening.
Okay, he said it's not happening.
I need to convert you. We need to convert your mind to go, we're going to fight. You fight. You say it's not happening. We're not losing this state. We're not losing this state.
So then how do we fight it?
We talk on a local level to local communities. We get fathers back home, take your community back, overrun the school board, have 100 good people go, run for 2 seats in school board. We demand for this great state as a republic to be run the way it's supposed to be run. Because the second you allow that thought to get in, maybe we'll go blue, then no offense to the beautiful blue dress, but we just can't. We can't. We have to wake up, really wake up in this state and say, I'm telling you, listen to me today. So goes Texas, so goes this nation. And we're about to turn this nation back in the right direction by turning Texas back. So Abbott, step up, buddy. You got a little time left. Because I don't think you win the election again.
I agree with that.
Time left.
I think that's a really concise and practical outline of things that people can do. And I think if there's any state that could do it, it would be Texas, because the Texan spirit is actually a thing. Like, I moved down here from Michigan 6 months ago, and I'm on the highway driving to Blaze. And I'm going 100 miles an hour behind a cop who's going faster than me. Like, there's just this thing in Texas where no one wants to listen to, it's like, no, we're gonna be fine. Like, there actually is this sort of sentiment to practice self-governance. In other states, people just kind of listen blindly to the law. But that being said, they still are shipping these illegal immigrants to states like Michigan, Georgia,
sure.
and so if not Texas, it will be federally, I think.
Yeah. They want to. They definitely are trying. Austin, California, half of California is moving to Texas. I mean, don't bring your woke politics here.
I like your story, your cop story, way better than mine, which was there was a cop that I passed going about 90, and he did not appreciate that and told me so in the ticket that he wrote me.
Remember what happened in my car after the hailstorm, how the back windshield was just totally Swiss cheesed? Again, I was coming back from Elijah Schaefer's house, and I was going too fast, and this female cop pulled me over, and she's like, is there any trouble? And I thought she meant like I'm driving too fast. I was like, no, I'm just tired. I want to go home. She's like, oh, your back window was shot out. I thought there was a shooting or something. I was like, oh no, it's the hailstorm. She's like, all right, well, have a good night. And it was like totally fine.
No way.
It was totally fine. It was great.
What do you have that I don't?
A beard.
Boyish charm.
He's got a beard.
You look entitled to it. You're like, officer, is there anything I can do?
Oh,
No,
you did not just say
absolutely
that.
not. I actually, every time I always admit what I've done wrong.
Wow.
I'm like, actually, there is no good reason for me to be
But that's
speeding.
why police do that. They're like, do you know why I stopped you? Because they're trying to get an admission out of you. And you're just like, oh, I was speeding. I'm like, no, I did nothing wrong, officer.
Right, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Bonner Wine, which I have right here at the table because it is, in fact, Friday, which means it's happy hour. So with Bonner Wine, when you take this and you open it up on the Friday happy hour, you can know that you are actually doing something for your health because Bonner wines are healthy wines, okay? They have less sugar, less chemicals, less additives, and because the grapes are grown at like 9,000 feet, it actually contains it contains more of this heart-healthy nutrient called resveratrol, which is good for your heart, it's good for your memory, it's just good for you. Yaku, actually, he just bought some Bonner wine for his friends.
I did for my friends, and you know, I've never tasted alcohol in my life.
Yeah.
Ever. I am the most illiterate person around alcohol, but I was told by the Bonner people and Sarah, this is a great wine, and some of my friends really, really love wine. And when I told them what I bought them, they were elated.
They were like, yes.
And one of these guys,
the good wine.
One of these guys is a level 4 sommelier.
Yeah.
I mean, they really know wine, and they were super, super excited. And the first thing they mentioned, Yaku, it's grown at altitude.
Yes.
9,000 feet.
Yes.
And, so,
yeah, you don't.
So I know zero about alcohol. but apparently, those who do really love it.
I do. So let me just tell you, go ahead and go to get you some Bonner. You can go to Cowgirl Wine 2021 today. You can get 50% off the wine and 50% off of the shipping. By the way, there was a while back we had to stop doing these ads because they flew off the shelves so quickly. Everyone loved them. They had to restock. So don't sleep on this. They could sell out again. You got to go to cowgirlwine2021.com. That is cowgirlwine2021.com. Let's talk about COVID again for a second, because I know we just talked about the illegal immigrants coming in, declining the vaccine, some of them. And I would have thought if there was ever a time to get everyone on board with closing the borders, you have the left, who is apparently they're just so scared of COVID. They think everyone's going to die. They are getting vaccinated and they still think they're going to die. They won't take off the masks. It is a religion for them. So you would think they see that these people are coming over, not getting the vaccine, could be exposing them to something. You would think that might change their minds. You would also think that when we are looking at the effects of how city officials, how federal officials, how all of these officials in the country handled the COVID relief money, you would also think that maybe we could get everyone on board to say, hey, that was a mistake. Let's not do that again. Let me just throw this one to you guys. Elected officials in a Michigan county, I don't know how you say this county, Shiawassee County. By the way, they are all Republican, so shame on you. They voted last week to use the federal relief money to award public employees, including themselves, one-time bonuses of at least $1,000. And by the way, they called these bonuses hazard pay. Typically we don't I don't think we usually would need a video to go along with a local news report, but this one is just so ridiculous. You have to watch it.
I'm giving the money back. I think another commissioner may be giving it to a nonprofit. Those actions, I think, indicate that we truly did not know this money was coming to us.
Commissioner Marlene Webster says when she voted to give bonuses to county employees, she didn't think that included commissioners.
I want people to know that I think they deserve better governance than this, and we're going to keep pushing forward and trying to have a more transparent county government. It's just unacceptable.
I think that I earned it. I work really hard at this job. I was here in person all through this crazy year. And I'll tell you, this is a crappy job. It stinks. Everybody's got the answers. Everybody's got the answers, but they don't want to do the work.
So now that the report came out, they are, of course, like, oops, I didn't realize when I was voting for that it was actually going to be my bonus. I thought that it was other people's bonus. And then, of course, you have the one woman, I think, who sums it up so perfectly by just saying, I earned it. I actually showed up for my job. Please, no one else had to do that. I mean, how much lower can the bar go here, guys?
They should have to pay back $2,000.
Just with interest? Is
yeah,
that why you're...
exactly. They should have to pay back the $1,000 and then an extra $1,000 as a tax for being dumb.
And arrogant too. That's what kills me. You think you earned it because you did your job.
Yeah.
You did the duties of your job that were just required for you to do your job.
Yeah, they were operating in the coalition that made it so everybody else couldn't do their job.
Right.
And then they're like, I'm so good. I actually showed up to work.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was hard. So I need an extra $1,000.
Yeah, it's like we actually showed up to work. I mean, you couldn't. We didn't let you. We shut your stores down. Also, we would arrest you in some places. We'll arrest you. We'll threaten you with arrest. We'll fine you if you try to open up. But I deserve a bonus.
Yeah, I look at it this way. You know, you stole America blind, the Fed, right? You're robbing us blind, and then you want to get rewarded for it. But they live in this culture where little Johnny has to be rewarded for showing up at the soccer game. You know, he needs a trophy. What do you mean? And there's parents, they need the trophy. I'm like, shut your mouth, sit down. Let's see if he can score a goal. Can't score a goal, replace him, put someone else on the team. This is a country of merit. You earn it. You earn it here. You don't get a trophy for showing up. But the sad part about this is you see this local story, but this happens at a federal level.
Yes, and that's why we thought
you're
it was so
talking about
$1,000
here and there. Okay, maybe it's not. Yeah, come on, give it. No, we're talking about, let's start talking millions and hundreds of millions of dollars that's siphoned off of the COVID relief packages that has gone to cronies and has gone to certain corporations, has paid corporations who stayed closed. Certain left-leaning corporations who didn't open their doors. They sent their employees home but took the check.
And it wasn't just the COVID relief packages themselves, but I mean, when we look back to whenever this all started, there was a lot of commotion about the hospitals, which were getting paid more when they had patients diagnosed with COVID. And we all said,
loading the numbers.
Hey guys, when
motorcycle
you attach
accident,
this,
COVID case.
Yes, when you attach this money to this, it is going to come with corruption.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here we're seeing it, but this time it's off the backs of the taxpayers.
You can even see, I think, like the amount of wealth that was drained from American workers was like 4-point-something trillion, and then concurrently the amount of wealth that the world's like billionaires amassed during the pandemic was like roughly the same, give or take 10%. It was a total transfer of wealth. It was very sad.
Really sad. All right, so let's get to a really interesting one. Joe Biden, we talked about the town hall that he had the other day where he just was... There was a 30-second malfunction, I think, where his system was rebooting and he couldn't quite get much of anything out. But I think after that, he was being asked a question. Did Elijah share this? I think this was from Elijah, but this was CBS News. Joe Biden was asked a question about defunding the police, and his deflection caught a couple people off guard. Watch.
Not defunding the police.
And are there people who, in the Democratic Party, who want to defund?
Are there people in the Republican Party who think we're sucking the blood out of kids?
I'm not sure. Are there people in the Democratic Party who want to... Mr. President,
okay, did you see that evil look?
I did.
I'm just telling you right now, this man is having many conversations, and he's losing track of which conversation he's having and which answer. And so the thing he's referencing, that conversation is going on. I'm just telling you that. Joe, are you talking about harming children? Are you talking about harming children's organs? You know, are you talking about, are we talking about some things here? Yeah, I know you're going to cringe now, but these conversations, are you talking about the trafficking situations? Because I know those conversations are going on with him about children being harmed, but he's misfiring a little bit. The question was, are you defunding the police? Yes, you're defunding the police. Okay, go across this nation, all special units are declining. The special units are weaning away. Vice unit in Dallas, canceled. Why? 100% defund the police. And across the country, so yes, you're defunding the police.
I want to bring in, John, I want to get your thoughts, but I want to bring in one more clip because that was not the only time that Joe Biden used this weird deflection. I mentioned the town hall earlier. Here is, it's coming up again. Sucking the blood of kids is coming up again. Watch.
I mean, QAnon. The idea that the Democrats or the Biden is hiding people and sucking the blood of children no, I'm serious. That's Now, you may not like me, and that's your right. Look, it's a simple thing. You can walk out and say, I just don't like the way that guy wears his tie. I'm voting against him. You have a right to do that. You have a right to do that. But the kinds of things that are being said of late, I think you're beginning to see some of the, and by Democrats as well, sort of the venom.
It was a weird, can we go back to the beginning of that? Can we see, what is the question that was actually asked? What is your reaction to Republicans pulling all of their picks from the committee investigating the Capitol insurrection? And somehow Joe Biden got to...
Kids and blood.
Yeah.
What was Pixar trying to warn us about when they had Randall hook up Boo to the scream extractor in Monsters Incorporated? What were they trying to warn us about?
I don't know. What?
Neither do I. I'm just asking questions. I don't know.
So it's a very, I mean,
yeah, no.
I hear this, right? But it's not, I would say, a right-wing talking point.
No.
It's not a point that you hear often in like mainstream conservatism to just be like, well, Joe Biden's just doing this. So it's just bizarre. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around why he would continue just like spouting this out at random times.
I think because it's radical. Okay, and it's going to get attention. It's so extreme, and he wants to say, hey, we're being accused of this most radical thing by the right, so let me completely discredit the right, because see, if they say this, they're all crazy, they're all loony, and so that's what you do. I mean, it's great deflection. That's what you would do in an argument. You know, when two siblings accuse each other, you just go out first. I just got to get to dad first. Well, she did this, and the worst thing ever, and it's like, whoa, it's shock and awe, right? And so I think he thinks that he can shut people up from asking him pertinent questions by just throwing. Obviously, he's doing it repeatedly. Mm-hmm. He's caught twice on camera now doing it in public forums. So obviously, he's doing it often. But it's very, very interesting that the man that says that is the same man that rolled back legislation to keep kids safe in this country. Fact. Rolled back an executive order President Trump signed. I stood 5 feet from him. Heck, I got the pen he signed it with. To protect children in this country, that man rolled it back day 2 of his administration, right? It was a bipartisan thing. It had nothing to do with politics. It was kids. So it's ironic that his son's laptops don't get investigated, and he can make statements like this. Do you really think the Democrats do anything bad to children? Yeah, I do. We're not talking about sucking blood. We're talking about not defending and protecting children. So I just think it's him going out there just saying, oh, the conservatives are nuts. Right. Look at what they're accusing us of.
Yeah. All right, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor of this segment, Bambee. So if you are a business owner, an entrepreneur, you run a small business, you know that HR issues can completely kill your business. You could be held responsible for, you've got a bunch of regulations to remember. You have to remember minimum wage requirements. Not to mention, if you get some sort of lawsuit, it could really, really kill your business. That was why Bambee was created, to give you a dedicated HR manager. They're available by chat, by phone, by email, however you would like to talk to them. And they are going to do it for $99 a month, which, by the way, the average HR manager salary is like $70,000 a year. And I say this often, I'm not good at math, but I do believe that $99 a month is way cheaper than $70,000 a year. So you've got someone who is going to have the expertise to craft all of your HR policies, do all of your onboarding, do all of your terminations, handle all of the HR for you without the headaches passed on to you. And they're going to do it at $99 a month. By the way, there's no contracts. You can cancel anytime, but you're not going to want to, because they are going to be an asset to your business. You got to go to Bambee.com/matters. You can get a free HR audit right now if you go to Bambee. That is BAMBEE, Bambee.com/matters. Before we move on, I want to stay on Joe Biden for a second, because there is it's a former Obama physician. I think he has been a physician to several presidents. His name is Ronny Jackson. He is currently a congressman in Texas, but he has served under several presidents. And I think it was last month, He was on the news because he and 13 other Republican lawmakers called for Joe Biden to take a cognitive test like the one that he administered to President Trump when he was in office. He says there is something seriously wrong right now with him. And Ronny Jackson is now predicting that Joe Biden will resign in the near future, also saying that the president is a security issue. It's interesting because I feel like we knew this information before we had the election. But there were 81 million people who voted for this most popular president in United States history. So I guess they just weren't paying attention, or maybe they were just already dead and didn't realize who they were voting for.
Yeah, it's just because so many dead people voted, right? So again, man, this is not a liberal. This is a conservative who's coming out and saying, "Hey, maybe this needs to happen." But normally, this is what they do. They'll run the race and they'll do the damage they want to do, and then they'll almost self-admit and say, "Oh yeah, the man is cognitively not sound." We have known this. We knew it way before, which is why he couldn't campaign, which is why he was in the bunker, which is why still, he works very short hours of the day. He's still not out in the press that often. So for me, on a serious note, it's abuse. It's elderly abuse. It's been abuse. The system is abusing him. His party is abusing him. His wife. I mean, in the world. I mean, would you allow your husband to look this decrepit, in front of public? So I think it's inevitable. I don't know if he'll actually resign, though. I think he'll have to be removed.
They would have to use the...
I don't know. He thinks he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
He's on cloud 9. He's the president of the United States.
Well, and it's difficult, too, because we saw the left completely dilute any sort of, President Trump would breathe wrong and they'd be like, oh, 25th Amendment, we got to get him out of here.
He drank the water with 2 hands.
Yes.
Remember when he slipped down the ramp because it was so...
He walked down the ramp slowly because it was slippery and it was raining and all these things. And they're like, oh my gosh, he can't handle it. We have to get him out of here. And so we heard that for the last 4 years. And now I think it's hard because it's like, you don't want to sound like you're being them. You don't want to sound like you're exaggerating the situation. But you look at the man and it's this isn't an exaggeration, I feel, at this point.
Yeah, which is why I'm saying for his sake.
Yeah.
This is an individual that doesn't know he's being manipulated. He doesn't know that he's being taken advantage of. He doesn't. I mean, they're like, Joe, you're president. Enjoy.
Every morning he wakes
up.
Joe, you're president.
But enjoy it. Well, don't worry, we'll run the show. And they are running who's running the show? I mean, that is the real expose I want, is who's really pulling the strings.
Remember when our obese McDonald's eating, Diet Coke drinking president got COVID and beat it in like 2 days?
I do remember that.
74, 75 years old. That was so good. I miss him.
That's all you have?
That's what I was thinking about when you started talking about it. I was like,
I like it.
I was reminiscing.
John.
I miss him.
I like it. He just plugged McDonald's.
Which I do not recommend going to.
No.
But I mean, am I wrong? Like it feels like you're playing into their game by saying, "Hey, this guy is really not fit for office." But it's like, but he really isn't fit for office.
Well, that's the thing. It's only framed that way because they abused it.
It was the boy who cried wolf. Yes.
Because they cried wolf, and this is what happens with the whole impeachment stuff. Impeaching a president twice. Then now where does it end? Because now you've cried wolf. You've broken the system. It's healthy, Sarah, to ask: is the man cognitively sound enough to run for mayor or school board or be a head coach? President.
I mean, just take the same test that President Trump took.
Take the test. You made him take the test, so just take the test.
Right.
Nothing wrong, right?
I think.
Take the
if
test.
There's nothing to hide.
This is a call out to all his whole team.
Although
Jill Biden, let him take the test.
Although then it's like, well, if that happens, then we get Kamala. So pick the lesser of two evils.
Well, they're about to throw her overboard themselves because she's falling apart. She's unraveling. But yes, that would be worse. That would be worse.
What do you think? Which would be worse? See, it's hard. He can't even.
I think Kamala would be worse.
Buddy, that is a vixen. That is Chucky the Clown on a whole nother level. No.
And can I say this? I'm going to say it. It sounds bad, but it's honestly because she's not a white man that it would be so bad. Simply because the media would just it would be like you took MLK and Rosa Parks and Obama and they assembled like Voltron, and I just couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
It would just be too much.
No, but the policies, oh my goodness. No.
I just couldn't take the laughing.
No.
I couldn't take the bad attitude because, we've seen her get very snippy with reporters.
Think of the screen time.
Yeah.
Remember when she was like that with Mike Pence? Like he was trying to be very composed and she was like, it's my turn to talk.
Yeah.
It's actually my turn
Yes. Yes. And then when she got testy with people at the border and she just got like this bad attitude and it's like... That is why I say
a whole lot of
the 19th
laughing.
Amendment should be abolished. I couldn't agree more. Like seeing that behavior.
I wasn't going to go that far, John.
Oh,
I wasn't going to go that far.
Say?
I said that Sarah is always right.
No, but I mean, I do think I have not yet seen a female. I'll just say this. I think there is obviously room for a female president. I have not seen a female that I would want as president, primarily because females are so predisposed to act like that.
Well,
and you have to be professional and diplomatic and all of these things, and they let their emotions get the best of them. And then you have Kamala over there like...
So you're kind of saying that the only woman who could really be president is a woman who behaves like a man.
Yeah.
No, buddy, you're not married.
She agreed.
No, she's not. I promise you, if her husband says that, she would not. You're stepping into territory. I'm going to save you. You are dateable. Fine. You're dateable, so stay dateable.
Honestly, I am controversial about this.
No, but what I want to say is this. What I want to say is this, though. Yes, you cannot run a country on emotion. They are running it on emotion. You can't run on feelings. They are doing it. Even a white president is still allowing it to be run on a male. But there are amazing women in our country that don't have a chip on their shoulder, and that's the key.
Hard to find, though. Seems to be.
It's not easy.
Seems to be.
But they exist.
Yeah. All right, we've got more to come, but we got to take a break first. We want to thank our sponsor, Built Bar, who, by the way, I've just gotten word that they are coming out with a new flavor, which is Rocky Road, and I want it in my stomach right now. It sounds amazing. I can't wait to try it. But Built Bar is for those of you who you want to eat healthy, you try to eat healthy, but maybe you get wooed by the Snickers bar in the pantry or, whatever it is, you've got a sweet tooth. Built Bar is going to help you with that because it is a protein bar, so it's healthy for you, but it tastes like a candy bar. I live off of them. I'm not sure if you're supposed to eat 5 in a day, but sometimes I do because it's the only thing that I have time to grab. But because it's so healthy, I'm like, I shouldn't feel bad. It's the 5th one, but I shouldn't feel that bad about it. Yeah, I mean, it tastes like I should feel bad. But I don't have to feel bad because it's a Built Bar. Try it if you haven't already. We've heard so many great reviews from so many of you out there who are loving your Built Bar orders. By the way, they have a mixed box, so you can try several of different flavors. If you're not quite sure which one you would like, you can go to built.com. That is BUILT.com. Use promo code NEWS15. You'll get 15% off of your order only at built.com. All right. You know what? It's Friday, and we've got a couple more stories here, but why not make more fun of Joe Biden when possible? So just because we're talking about him not being fit for office, there may be some leftist trolls right now watching the program on YouTube or Facebook who are like, oh, well, that doesn't compare at all to President Trump and whenever he sniffs wrong. Well, first of all, I would say that Joe Biden actually sniffs people and not just sniffs weirdly. So I think that probably argument would not fly. But also, Joe Biden cannot complete coherent sentences, as we talked about, which is evident in the CNN town hall we discussed earlier. Like, he just didn't make sense, needed a reboot. Here is that reboot in real time.
That's underway, just like the other question that's illogical. And I've heard you speak about it because I'm not being solicitous, but you're always straight up about what you're doing.
Yes.
And the question is whether or not we should be in a position where you are, why can't the experts say, we know that this virus is in fact, it's going to be, or excuse me, we know why all the drugs approved are not temporarily approved, but permanently approved. Yeah. That's underway, too. I expect that to occur quickly.
What? Huh? What?
Yep.
What? I don't even know what he was trying to, I genuinely don't know what he was trying to say.
On a serious, this is not even making fun of him. On a serious medical level, you're looking at a cognitive misfire. You're looking at the synapses not connecting. The things are not connecting. And this is not like the man is doing something wrong. There's a condition. And they're parading him out there and just go out there, fail in front of the world. Yeah. You know, that's abuse. And so it's not like Joe can go and fix this.
Right?
Right?
Yeah,
this is like
I do feel bad for him.
Yeah, he's down the chute.
Yeah, how can you face this intense amount of pressure being president of the United States? If I play something on my phone and just like hold my phone up, the microphone will get it, right? Okay, all right. So the other day on the program, because I just thought of this, but the other day on the program I mentioned that this YouTube of this kid. Have you guys heard this?
Yeah, the kid.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a dreams that you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
That was literally Joe Biden.
That's Joe Biden.
I think if I played that in Joe Biden's voice, people would completely believe that it was him.
You remember that one clip from The Office where Michael Scott was like, don't ever, at any time, under any circumstance, no matter who you, and he just goes on for like 5 minutes like that, and he's just like, sometimes I start a sentence and I just try to find it while I'm like getting along or something like that. It's literally Joe Biden.
Just like, so I made the reference, and I'm not sure if people knew or had heard the video. You can look it up on YouTube. But that kid just trying to finally bring it home. He finally gets there at the end and brings it home, and he's so excited.
Yeah, which is normal at that age for that kind of a kid, but now it tells you the clock is...
Right.
We got a little Benjamin Button going on there, you know?
All right, let me get to one more story before we have to go. We've got a couple minutes left here, or not many at all. So let's get to this quickly. A DC public school teacher who praised China's response to the COVID-19 pandemic has received the honor of becoming the district's History Teacher of the Year, which is interesting because I guess she doesn't actually know the history of China. So I'm not sure why she would be History Teacher of the Year, but these are the people that are teaching your children if your children are in public schools.
Yeah, no, this is a wake-up moment. Understand that for those who are willing to walk the line like this, who literally say China's policies in handling COVID was fantastic, she gets rewarded for that kind of speak. Is that who you want your children to be taught by? Because that's who the administration wants to put in front of your kid in a classroom and tell you to pay for it.
Yeah.
Right? Because taxpayers are paying for her to have a job.
Yeah, and the leftists love it. John, last word.
It's like an obedient lapdog. Like, look, I did what the narrative told me to do, and they give her a little participation trophy.
That's true. And
treat.
She eats it up and continues because that's enough to keep her going. All right, we've got to take a break. We'll be right back. Hey, this is the part of the program where I tell you guys to go to wherever you get your audio podcasts. Spotify, iHeart, Apple Podcasts. I know there are a ton of them. You got to go to whatever is loaded on your phone right now. Yes, you can do this. If you're not watching on your phone, if you're watching on your computer, you can go on your phone like this and go to wherever you get your podcasts. You subscribe, rate, and review The News and Why It Matters. It will help more people be able to find the show. And also, it will help all of our egos if you say something nice about us and put 5 stars. Right, John?
Yeah, as a talking head, my entire sense of being is basically like outsourced to external validation from people telling me they like my ideas. So
we were just talking about that type of thing.
Yeah, I don't exist as a
Elijah's
person.
show.
I'm like literally just a concept. So if you could just tell me that you like my ideas, that would
just pet his head and tell him he's pretty, and it would really mean a lot to him.
That's a projection if I've ever seen one.
So, and also you may see your review read live on air, like the one today from Sally Southpaw, who says, love, love, love the show. When I get the kiddos to bed, this show is my mommy time. Great perspective with some laughs. Thank you for keeping me sane. I appreciate that, and I can totally relate to the mommy time. Yep. My mommy time when the kids go to bed is usually involves a glass of wine. So I hope that you, Bonner, okay? So don't forget, cowgirlwine2021.com. Also, don't forget to make sure that you subscribe to Yakubuyan Show, wherever, all the places that you can find it, YouTube, Instagram. John, you're on Instagram and YouTube, not on Twitter though, right?
No, got kicked off.
But you can find John on Instagram and YouTube. Make sure to subscribe.